Hello everybody to the 5th episode of our Dino Battle series. If you kept up the series, and you can see on my channel on YouTube, you're like, this isn't the 5th episode. There's only 2 uploaded before this, and talk about that real quick before we get into the battle. Basically, the episodes have been copyrighted almost every time, and I've tried to re-upload them, but it hasn't worked, and several episodes, well, only 2 right now, are not on YouTube. So for the rest of the battles, I'm going to treat this more in a podcast kind of way where I'm just talking. You don't have to watch the video, so I'm not going to be using clips from the films anymore. But you can see here that our bracket list has made some developments since the last episode. Unfortunately, those are not saved as episodes, but basically today we're going to be doing 2 battles. That is the Indoraptor against the Therizinosaurus, and then the Indominus Rex against the Scorpius Rex. I'm going to keep those of you waiting who don't really care about that, but anyway, I'm going to go into the battle. The first battle is between the Therizinosaurus and the Indoraptor. In the Jurassic franchise, these are both very powerful creatures. We're going to look at them one at a time, and then decide who would win. So first we have the Indoraptor, the last hybrid created in the timeline, and just put it the 4th. This was a quote-unquote perfection of the Indominus Rex that was more adapted to military situations where it would need to be faster and a smaller animal that could navigate through tight spaces, but it was still very intelligent and could be controlled by a laser sensor. It was about 24 feet long and 10 feet tall and weighed about 1 ton or so, perhaps a little more. But the Indoraptor has a few traits that would make it pretty successful in a fight. That being its extreme durability, seeing as how it was partially bullet resistant, and its incredible senses and intelligence. It has a lot of the combat abilities of the Velociraptor, which was its main gene donor, but it is important to note that this was not a perfected Indoraptor that we saw in the film. We do have a perfected Indoraptor somewhere else on our chart, but this is not it. This is the original Indoraptor. So that may prove to be somewhat of a disadvantage since it was an unfinished creature. In the franchise, we didn't see it fight a lot. However, it did seem to be able to be kept back by Blue, a single Velociraptor, so that's not looking great in its favor. A lot of people think this is a very powerful creature, and depends who you ask, really, how strong the Indoraptor is. But we're going to go ahead and look at the next creature, the Therizinosaurus. So, the Therizinosaurus was first created in Biosyn Valley by Biosyn probably in 2019, but its DNA sources existed long before that, at least back to the time of the Indominus Rex creation in 2012. The Therizinosaurus was an enormous creature, nearly 40 feet long and much taller than the T-Rex. Anyway, the Therizinosaurus, just looking at it, its main weapons were its enormous 3-foot claws on its hands. These were devastating weapons, as we saw what happened to that deer in Jurassic World Dominion. And this creature was blind, and much like the Indoraptor, it echolocated, which we know the Indoraptor echolocated due to Jurassic World Evolution 2. But it also seems strange that it echolocates, even though it has night vision. They both are creatures that use echolocation for their movement in the dark, but this fight probably wouldn't be taking place at night. It would be a really cool environment, though. I can imagine that. Imagine the giant Therizinosaurus and the Indoraptor fighting like at night in the dark in like Biosyn Valley or something. That would look really cool. But obviously the Therizinosaurus is a much more massive creature than the Indoraptor, weighing several tons and several times more than the Indoraptor. But the Indoraptor has agility on its side, however the Therizinosaurus is also not slow. Its blindness, especially due to the Indoraptor's intelligence, may prove to be somewhat of a significant disability here, unlike what it was against the Giganotosaurus, which was able to just fend off with its claws, since that was a more massive creature. But it's likely that the Indoraptor could probably get around the Therizinosaurus' claws pretty well, better than it could something like a medium theropod like an Allosaurus, as we saw in one of the other battles in the series. Never mind, that one's been taken down for copyright. I think that if it came to this fight, most of the time the Indoraptor would probably come out on top because it would be able to figure out the Therizinosaurus' weaknesses and get around to its side, get on its back, bite its neck, claw it, whatever. the Therizinosaurus would probably not be super effective against the agile Indoraptor, and even though it is the more massive creature, in this case it would probably lose. Alright, so now we have that in our chart. We're going on to the next battle, the Indominus Rex versus the Scorpius Rex. In my opinion, the two most powerful hybrids in the franchise fighting, and hybrids are not weak creatures, as we've seen throughout this entire franchise. First, we have the Scorpius Rex, the first hybrid created in timeline order. This hybrid was created by Dr. Wu, incubated in either 08 or 09. This was created on Isla Nublar to be a potential attraction. However, being an imperfected hybrid, it had a lot of issues. We can see that it had lots of labored breathing, and it was extremely temperamental, and its behavior was not exactly in line. So, for these reasons, also it was very ugly, which was why Masrani decided it would not be fit for the Scorpius Rex to be an attraction in Jurassic World, and he ordered he ordered Dr. Wu to destroy it. So Dr. Wu did not do that. He cryogenically froze it in case he needed it later, but this would be no harm. Later, the Scorpius Rex would actually break out of its cryogenic freeze during Camp Cretaceous and greatly destabilize the ecosystem of Isla Nublar in the year 2016. The Scorpius, as far as its weapons, it has the jaws and claws of most of similar animals, but its main weapon that makes it unique is its tail. On its tail, it's equipped with poison spikes, where its name comes from, the scorpion fish. These were extremely devastating and had psychological effects as well as a deadly poison. And we saw that even one little quill that was stuck in the tail of a Sinoceratops was able to destabilize it greatly, and it was in great danger. These are extremely poisonous. Sinoceratops are enormous animals, and especially on a limb like that, where it's not near the heart or anything, it's extremely surprising how effective that was. The Scorpius could also climb very well, and even though it was greatly destable, it was mildly intelligent and was able to figure things out. Its tail was also prehensile, which was how it climbed. The Scorpius Rex could also only see in heat vision or like infrared. So basically, that's the Scorpius Rex. On to the next creature, the Indominus Rex, an enormous hybrid created by Dr. Wu in 2012 to be a main attraction for Jurassic World. This creature was made of a combination of several creatures, chiefly the Tyrannosaurus, Velociraptor, Giganotosaurus, Therizinosaurus, Dinosuchus, and then some living animals like frogs and chameleons. There were some other creatures involved, but basically that's the makeup of the Indominus Rex, and what you get is a super predator that was specifically created to be able to take down Jurassic World, and was probably planned to be by InGen to test its capabilities. This was the start of a program, and the pinnacle of the Ibris program, the Ibris program is the program related to Velociraptors led by InGen, basically from the time of, I guess, 1999 to 2015. So here you have the Indominus. This creature was never fully grown in the films, but for this battle chart, we're going with a fully grown version, which would have been over 50 feet long. It was an extremely durable animal, and it took a rocket launcher to the face, and Kylosaurus tail club was more powerful than the Tyrannosaurus in battle, even after taking severe damage. Took out an entire team of ACU, was very bulletproof, was shot at by a machine gun and survived, was attacked by a pack of raptors and survived, and even after all this, it was only taken down by the Mosasaurus. The Indominus is, without a doubt, the most durable carnivore in the franchise, and probably the most durable creature. It was also able to take down a herd of Apatosaurus, which are enormous animals that even though it had no experience in combat, it was able to take down all these from the first day out of its enclosure, from the day it was born. As soon as it was released, it was able to do all this and destabilize the entirety of Isla Nublar, close down Jurassic World, and get it evacuated. This is why the Indominus Rex is one of the most dangerous creatures, if not the most dangerous creature in the franchise. It's also incredibly intelligent, able to outsmart humans. It can camouflage into trees, and a very important detail for this battle, it can hide an infrared signature. Yeah. So the Indominus has very sophisticated abilities to hide itself from most forms of detection, visually by camouflaging, and it can also thermally hide its signature, which would make it invisible to any thermal sensors, including the Scorpius Rex, who only sees in thermal vision. So during this fight, the Indominus would be invisible to the Scorpius, and the only thing that would have helped the Scorpius in this battle would be its agility. However, the Indominus is also incredibly fast. Since the Scorpius can't see the Indominus and the Indominus is faster, it's going to be able to outmaneuver it and also just deal much more damage and take down the Scorpius in only a few hits. And the Scorpius is not going to be able to do much about that. And against most large carnivores or large herbivores or any animal really, the Scorpius's tail spikes would be a X factor, something very helpful. But in this case, since the Indominus has basically impenetrable skin, those aren't going to help much because it doesn't have the force to simply stab into them. It just can't do that, which is why the Indominus would win almost every time. It's simply the superior creature and wins in almost every category. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. There will be more of this. Tell me what you think of this format. And yeah, hope you enjoyed.